All right, time to do it. All right, so I got my parts in from Bimmerheads, actually hooked up some new valves, stainless steel valves, and then I got new rocker shafts as well. The new heads in here, you can tell rocker shafts, new valves from Bimmerheads. They had these in stock, luckily, so I got them super quick. Gonna put everything, not everything, but a lot of the stuff from the older head, like my rocker arms, valve springs, cam, will all go into the newer head. So I'm just gonna piece all this together and then throw it in on top of the old block. But hopefully this fixes everything, and then we can move on from there and get this car back on the road. That'd be awesome, because I really want to get this thing back on the road. So this is an AMC head. They make them in Spain. Comes with the studs for the intake and exhaust headers. It also has the valve guides are already pressed in, which is great. Should be interesting. I mean, I took it apart, so it should just be the same in reverse, right? Fingers crossed. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw in all the valves. Basically, just push the valve up through the valve stem seal, put the springs on top, compress it with the spring compressor, and then put the little these little boys right here. Put those on top, and then it should be good. Yeah, just gonna pull the new valves out, and I'll put them in order real quick, and then we'll throw them in this bad boy. All right, so I got the valve springs all done for the intake side. Now I gotta move over to the exhaust side. I'll put all the valves in here, and then yeah, just keep on building this head out. So I got the exhaust valves in and the intake valves in. Pretty sure the camshaft should go in first. That way I don't have to move the rocker arms out of the way when I'm putting the camshaft in. So I'm gonna go ahead and try putting the camshaft in first, and then I'll put the rocker shafts in, and then the rocker arms will go on while installing the rocker shafts. So, all right. I'm gonna lube up the camshaft, and then I'll insert it. I just flip the head around so it's easier to get in there. But yeah, here we go. All right, so the camshaft's in. All right, time to do the rocker arms and the rocker shafts. So from what I can tell, you want the shorter side to be towards the back of the block, back of the head, I should say. And then the longer side is towards the front of the head. And then the oil passages should match up with the rocker arms properly. Time to put these guys in and then slide the rocker arms over it. next thing is there's a key. It needs to go out here. But if you look here, you can see that it's off slightly. So I need to find an Allen that matches with that guy. And then I'll just be able to spin these pretty easily and then be able to put the key in. So I've done a little work off camera because the battery died, but basically I put the oil sprayer back in. I threw the cam gear on already, so that's right, I did the cam gear seal as well. Now I just got to put in all the studs for the exhaust, for the intake, and for the valve cover. The new head comes with all of them. So one thing that sucks about getting a new head is you got to put in all new studs. So I'm gonna throw all that on, probably do some more seals. This thing's getting very close, which I'm stoked about. Back to working on the head. All right, so I got all the studs on. I just placed the intake on there as well. Put the head gasket on and slide the head onto I have ARP head studs. So I'll slide the head onto the block, probably get it mounted there. Sweet. All right, I'll knock it out real quick and then yeah, you guys will see what I'm doing. So I pulled off the old head gasket, which is this bad boy right here. It was a Vulcan cut ring gasket, and I got the OEM BMW head gasket. I already have ARP head studs in. That's what I've always ran on this motor. And then I put the intake breather tube in with some zip ties around the spring at the bottom so that I can just slide it right on, and then I'll cut it and it goes right up into it. So I'm just gonna put on the head gasket real quick, and then I'll put the head on, make sure the intake breather tube is in properly, maybe torque down the head studs tonight, and that should be it. I'm getting hungry, it's getting late. Making a lot of progress here today. All right, cool, let's do this. Whoa, whoa. Well, that was fun. I forgot how much ARP head studs stick up. Just kind of had to finally line it up properly and then drop it down on. Now she's in, so I just gotta connect everything up now. Everything. I think I'm just gonna do the breather tube real quick. Maybe a couple other little things. We'll see how far I get. Hopefully get this thing running soon. Should be fun. All right, so I made a very bad mistake with timing on the engine. Luckily, I figured it out this time around. The cam gear that I have on there is an aftermarket cam gear. It's got a couple different markings on the cam gear itself. So previously, when I was doing the timing on the engine, thought it was timed and it wasn't. And this time around, I found the actual timing mark on the aftermarket cam gear. I just put the timing belt on, spun the engine around multiple times, and now it's working properly. So I'll show you guys real quick my mistake. That way you don't make the same mistake I did when installing a head with an aftermarket cam gear. Here we go. This cam gear, I was basically using the adjustable mark in the middle right here as my TDC. That is wrong. That's completely wrong. So first thing you need to note is the actual mount for the distributor cap needs to be pointing up. That'll get you close to where TDC is. And then what you realize is that on this cam gear specifically, there is a line marked right there. And so what you want to do is that line right there needs to be marked up with the TDC mark right here on your head. So once that's done, your mark down here should be lined up as well. Looks like it's off for me right now. I need to make sure I have it on there properly. It might be off too. So I'm just gonna make sure it's lined up. But it is spinning freely, which I think is the reason why I had an issue with it previously and why the head got damaged. Yeah, catastrophic mistake, very expensive mistake. but I learned a lot from it. So I guess there's some pros out of doing this all yourself. Able to learn quite a bit out of rebuilding the head and putting this engine back together. Put actually quite a bit of these engines back together before, but not with an aftermarket cam gear. Last time I had it put together was with a shop that basically rebuilt the whole engine for me. So that's why that cam gear is on there. Normally I just use the stock cam gear, but I wanted to be able to adjust the timing on this, but not by that much. So, all right, sweet. I'm gonna see if I can double check the timing on this real quick and just make sure it's all lined up properly, and then I'll button up the rest of the engine. All right, so have been buttoning up the engine. One of the problems I ran into was the headers were now hitting the engine mount. So I had to massage those to get them back in. Everything else, I just like the whole cooling system is put back together. I did a valve adjustment. Yeah, so now all I need to do is put the ignition back together real quick. So the ignition wires, ignition distributor cap, the air intake I need to put back on, and then I need to add oil and coolant and see what happens. Very, very close to getting this back on the road, hopefully. I'm trying to think about what else I need to do. I think that's pretty much it. Then I'll be able to drive it, which will be great. I haven't driven this car. I just realized it's been sitting since last June. Just been working on the M mainly. The M took precedent, obviously, but now I want to get that buttoned up as well. I need to go through the rear end, go through the trans and the M. I want to put like a new shifter on and do all new bushings on the rear end. So I'll be doing that hopefully soon. I need to get this guy out of the garage first so I have a place to work on it. And then I'll be driving this guy around for a while. That's pretty much it. So yeah, I got a few little things I gotta take care of on the engine, and then grab some fluids, and hopefully she runs good. Alright, so I got the engine all put back together. This needs some liquids. We're gonna run to the auto parts store, pick up some oil and some coolant, and then we'll be able to fire this guy up. Alright, so I put fluids in. Now I'm gonna just prime the engine. I pulled the ignition coil. That way I can get all the fluids going and everything through the engine. So I'm gonna do that right now. After that, hopefully we plug in the ignition and get this bad boy up and going. So neutral. Alright, that should be good. I'm gonna plug in the coil and then hopefully she turns over. Alright, so I plugged in the coil. Now we'll see if she turns over. Fingers crossed.
I'm fucking up.
Yeah, Calvin's over there somewhere. Alright. Well, it's not working. I gotta check the fuel lines real quick. They might be swapped, so that happens a lot with because they both look the same. But I'm pretty sure I got it right. Okay, so I swapped out the fuel lines. There was pressure on the return side. So I read online basically that the top hard line coming off the chassis, on the chassis mount, is the fuel line. The return line's the middle one is what they said. So I did that. That didn't seem to work, so let's see if it's the other way around. I believe the middle line is actually the fuel line, and then the return line's the top one. Hopefully this works. Got a little something. sound like something came off. So it might have been the header hitting the engine mount. We'll see. So I'll have to look into it. I guess we'll just try and crank her over again. Why is it doing that? It's like the throttle's stuck. Alright, so adjusted the throttle real quick because it kept shooting straight up, so hopefully it doesn't do that anymore. It's almost like it has a massive air leak of some sort.
What was wrong?
The line between the brake cylinder booster and the intake wasn't plugged in. So hopefully that was the problem.
That guy right there. See what happens. All right. Ready? Hopefully. Come on, baby. Running. A little spicy. Does it have a cam? Yeah. Yeah. That's right. Yeah, it's the header. Yeah, motor sounds good, dude. Yeah, you can hear it, it's like rocking. It's a rocking noise. A little smoke it out.
Yeah, it's the header. As soon as it starts to vibrate a tiny bit more, that's when you can hear it knocking and hitting. Well, I mean, I can just put a spacer on the engine mount to get it up a little higher on that side, right? No, because the geometry stays the same. The geometry is always going to be the same because the engine mount's mounted to the block. See, now it sounds fine.
Yeah. See, it goes away.
Yeah.
I gotta get my piece of shit out of the way so you can get your piece of shit out of the road.
Move some cars. Sounds good.
Yeah, it's starting to sound better for sure. Oh. That's it. I have not been out. July 2021. Good.
Gotta run it. Engine assembly lube. Yeah. Oh yeah. Rub it in there.